We're going to be making a city that is optimal based upon how burgage plots were done at the time, but incorporating a lot of logistics and how the game works. I'm going to build something pretty darn unique here. Now, this is actually awesome. We're going to optimize our food production. We're going to produce every kind of food there is outside of sausage. We could potentially import salt from a region like here and berries if we need to. But what we have over here is fish and a rich deposit of stone, which is one of the worst things to have. But you know what? We can sell stone as a trade item. So right here I have the basis of what I'm trying to achieve. First and foremost, we need to move our wild animals and pause the game. I'm using the shrine tool, because if you place it down like so, it will move the object. Alright, I'm happy with where it is, mainly because it took me quite a bit to get it to move there. Now we're going to delete these one by one. I'm not going to show you that, though. You can hold tab. Alright, and there's the last one there. So our starting location is here. If you want to get your desirability up real quick, you typically want to build around the area that you're going to be building in. What we're going to do is a little different. We're going to start doing the entire layout of what this base is going to be. Now, I know I can't build here, so I have an idea for a bottom area over here. So what I want to do is find my center. And my center, I believe, is going to be somewhere right around here. Now, one thing I can actually place is the hitching post. So I also know that I'm going to need at least 6 corpse pits on this side and this side over here. You can see we actually have a lot more room than we think. Very, very big area. So what I'm going to end up doing right now is just formulating this. So, perfect. Now what we're going to have are 3x3s for veggies and 3x4s for apples. This is going to give us that awesome little feel of a bunch of burgage plots being packed together, but give us really efficient values. About 45 veggies or apples per corpse pit. This will be substantially more than we need. And it actually goes up much higher when you have 4 families. You do need to be aware that it says it's too steep to build in some of these areas, so just be mindful of that. We might have to amend some of this design. Now in between, we're going to have a middle area. And this is going to be for anything that we want, primarily farming and agriculture, as we're going to have farmlands all the way behind all of this. So we want to do the same thing over here. Now the reason I'm overproducing apples relative to veggies, simply because I like to sell apples. So they're a good one to sell. You could do the same with veggies, but I'm also going for kind of a neat little design here with what I'm doing, so. Alright, so we got our veggies up to 3, our apples up to 4. Now that we have all this, we're going to create a massive road across the whole area here. Create a road going down side here. I'm going to create a road from the back sides like so. We can connect these later. Will help us later when sectioning off areas. Very good. Alright, perfect. Now we're going to get rid of all these corpse pits. Now behind all of these veggies and apple fields are going to be wheat fields. And so it's important, if you're doing a design like this, that you have rich deposits. You know you have fertility rich deposits if you only have one rich deposit. That's how it is. If you have one rich deposit, then you have the best fertility in the game. See, we have the best fertility in the game. And all along up here, we're going to have tons and tons of fields, probably going down the sides, maybe even over here if necessary. I don't think it will be. And in the middle right here are going to be our windmills and all the great things that we have. And I'm going to do this real quick just to know what center is. So this is center here. This is our center here. We're just going to go a tad bit off. And what we're going to do here is we're going to use a hitching post. There, we're just using that to line up with everything. Makes it easy. And this hitching post should be about 1 hitching post down. So this is actually just a tad bit too big. That's okay. We're just going to eyeball it this time. Go. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a circle around the hitching post. See how easy it is? The initial one. And then we're going to trace one more circle around the hitching post. And this will allow us to have exactly one granary. And this will help us with efficiency. Remember that food is consumed from the granary before the market stalls. As long as you have the food item in your granary, you don't have to worry about restocking market stalls. So market stall distance really isn't important anymore with the new mechanical changes. It's granary location and logistics of travel. The closer your granary is to what it's trying to do, the more efficient it's going to be. It's that simple. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is we have our little circle. Let's just make sure before you move on, make sure it fits. You can see that it does not. So my bad. We're going to need to do one more circle. And this is actually kind of cool. It actually works out better. So we're going to use a little bit of the weirdness going on up here. Right into the road. Look at that. Perfect. So it's a little different. It's a little wonky. I love it. And now we can fit the granary perfectly right here. And we have a nice little roundabout around it. This will allow us to build things off of it. So the same deal over here. We're going to do 3 circles around all of this. So very, very easy. First circle looks like jank. And the best way to do this is just do click, click, click like that and just go all the way around. And then the next circle is just going to come right off this area. And none of this needs to be absolutely perfect, but you might find it's useful. Makes things align a little bit better. I'm going to do this again. Okay. Another way you could do this, now that I'm thinking about it, is to just line it up like so. Once you complete one circle, find your bottom, like so. And then you can just simply trace a circle by memory. Doesn't look as good. Doesn't look as good. But you know what? We're going to keep it. We're going to keep it with us. The reminder that we're not perfect. I don't know. It looks good enough to me. So that is where the 2 granaries are going to go relative to everything going on up here. Now what's kind of cool is we're going to be able to, you know, have these do a pretty good job. Let's just make sure, like I said, it's big enough, everything to fit. It looks like we just need a little bit of a modification over here. Okay, this one's looking a little sharper. It's going to be angled a little bit differently, but that's all right. It's good. It's good to go. Now we have both of those situated perfectly. Now the main thing we're going to have is we're going to have eggs on the left and we're going to have meat on the right. We are actually going to be doing both. But so I'm going to have a granary that specializes in egg collection here and a granary that specializes in meat collection over here. Now you could actually go the distance and say that this guy right here is good enough, that we have the 2 here. However, I don't believe that's true. I think we want to go a different direction with this. Now, I want to have the church, taverns, and all that kind of lined up here. So what I want to do is have this beautiful circle. So we're going to create the most magnificent circle that anyone has ever seen, where the market stalls and the heart of the town is going to be centered on. And you can actually just go out a little bit, right, and eyeball circles. Like, you don't have to follow each road by road realistically. You're mainly just trying to follow the bend, right, and get something that is as good as possible. So this is actually looking relatively close to what I want. And if we look, the market stalls in this area is beyond insanity. Much greater than what we need. So we're going to have a connector here. We're going to have a connection here. And off of this craziness, we're going to have multiple pathways. So just an FYI, Corpse Pit is also the perfect measurement for an extension with the backyard plot. So we want everything here to line up, right? So realistically, we know that all the way up to here is where we're going with this. So we're going to line these bad boys up. And this is going to be a road. Now you can see it's going off of this circle. So what we're actually going to do is have a circle off of a circle here. It's going to be pretty cool. And I'll show you how that's going to work. I had this idea last night. I thought it sounded really, really cool. So the same thing here. As long as we make sure the tendrils, or whatever you want to call these things, are lined up thusly, you should be able to get everything going. Here, right here at the bottom. Now these circles here that are connected, and will be connected by this road, they're going to be connected together, and they're going to be 2 granaries. And we're going to have houses all in between this area, here, and also on the bottom. Now I'm going to place another road down here, but this road is just to keep everything together. I have a feeling that we're not going to be able to build every house here, simply because of some of the things that I'm seeing. Oh. This is just a reminder road. Okay, so we have everything we need here. Going to be an enormous amount of houses. This is going to be a high population. This back road will be deleted. It will just be houses on this side, houses on that side. And the cool thing is we can use this circle to get our next circle. We don't have to overthink this. We're going to delete this road just temporarily. I'll get it back up here in a second. There we go, another granary. So these 2 granaries are going to be connected by the roads here. Be able to go out any direction. They're going to be specialized to the things that are around them. It's going to increase their efficiency pretty substantially. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this. So we got our 2 granary areas. Things are looking up. We're going to leave everything just the way that it is right now. We do want to make sure that these roads are connected. All right, this is looking beautiful. Got a lot of good synergy here. And we're going to have another granary between the meat and fish. We'll have a granary down here for later things that we need. Going to remove the corpse pits now. We're mapping out that city, boy. This is going to be good. Okay. Similar setup over here. Got a little bit of a slant, and that's okay. And this circle isn't as big as the other circle. That's okay, too. We can actually kind of eyeball a lot of this now. So we're going to do so. Best way to test if it's working appropriately is just to do a trial. All these have backyard extensions. Perfect. Okay. I'm actually going to end up just redoing these circles. You can also use certain tools to, hold control and smooth things out. Does sometimes help. A lot of these roads are going to be replaced once I get the burgage plots in to kind of conform more with the territory. To be honest, I can always redo these later if I just hate the way they look. Alright, granary fits, granary fits. That's all that matters. Alright. We've got it on lockdown now. So you can see we have our design. It's pretty darn decent. This is going to house an insane amount of people. And it's going to continue to kind of veer off and around. We're going to have, I think, little V's motions going on here. I'm going to have the houses coming in at kind of an angle. Yeah, that looks good to me. So a little bit off because all this is over here. That's okay. Now remember, your roads can kind of go around like so. We're going to circle around the fishing pond now. Perfect. Okay. The main road that we need to focus on is over here. Now this is a great place for industry, as you can see, and trade. So this whole sector down here is going to be our first industry. But our food processing is going to be right here. So we're all the way over here. A little bit of a conundrum, right? So we're going to start off over here with 3 double burgage plots. These will be deleted later. 1, 2, 3. And then we're also going to start off with a logging camp right here. We're going to pop up our hitching post. We're going to order an ox right now. And then we're going to let them get to work. Put all this over here, wonderfully ready. Hit tab and just make sure you didn't miss any of the corpse pits, because they'll walk over there and build it all up. But we're about to build a stupidly good city. It's going to be very, very big. We have all this other room. We have a ton of room for farming all around it. It's going to be great. But most of the industry is going to be located around these parts. Okay. I'm actually realizing a couple of mistakes here if we want to get our first family by April. Is that these things are just too far away. we want them to be facing. So I'm going to change it up. I want them to be as close to this log pile as possible, close to this area as possible. We're going to place them over here. This is going to make it much faster and make it more likely that we hit our 6 families at the beginning of the first month. So let's build these up. Second, what we're going to do is we're going to get a road. It helps with a lot of stuff. Helps with the ox a little bit. And we'll just go around, ring around the rosy right there. And we'll connect this to the main road here. And let's get this started. This will be much, much faster. The further the distance that the ox has to travel, the harder it's going to be to hit that. This is a very close range. Alright, so we're getting the logging camp up. We need to start gathering wood pretty much immediately. I'm going to put 3 families into the logging camp. Let the other 2 families start building up the burgage plots. You don't really need more than 2 families at this stage because you're still pulling all the wood kind of in, right? So we want to get these houses built as fast as possible. And but we also want to counter that with getting as much wood as possible so that we can instantly start expanding the living spaces so that we can have 6 families here. We're going to hit 50% because everybody is housed at the beginning of the next month. Even though I'm at 48%, it's going to jump straight up to 50%. Alright, so expand the living space there. Expand the living space there. How much timber do we have? We need 2 more. Very, very good. I'm going to bump this down to 1 other person helping to expand. We have 2 buildings that need to be expanded right now. Alright. And then once we get this last piece of lumber, we can expand the living facility here. Expansion. Alright, almost expansion. And it is the 21st of March. We're doing really, really well. Alright, expansion. Perfect. We're in good shape. We're definitely going to hit that. So the next thing that we want to focus on is our food and our first granary. So we have a fishy over here and wild animals over here. Now, I'm a big, big fan of making kind of similar designed areas, right? So what I would like to do is have a partial circle over here for the granary. Our first granary is going to be placed right here. An equal distance between wild animals and the fishing. Actually, most likely I should probably keep it a little bit closer to the fishing over here. This is kind of a, you know, a big distance. And I know I moved this here, but I'm realizing now, zoomed out, right? This is really, really far away. So unfortunately, I'm going to play whack-a-mole one more time. Look at that. It only took like 40 times. That is much, much better. And we're going to be able to have a granary, right? This is going to be so optimal. It's going to be unbelievably optimal. The only problem is these houses could potentially scare the animals right here. So we'll have to be very, very careful with that. I think it can be done, though. We just want to make sure that we have a road going around this, so that when people are walking, they're more likely to take the road around rather than going into the animal pen. But this is beautiful. I'm very, very excited about the efficiency gains here. And now people have a way to walk around. We're going to connect this right here. This is perfection. And we're going to delete all of... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes. Delete them all. Alright, we got all of them now. So this is beautiful. It's going to be a little wonky, the way we're doing things. Eventually I will actually just probably retain this as a lumber camp area. That way we can just keep these houses over here. So that's pretty awesome. We're in good shape. Very, very good shape. We got 2 people over there. And we need to now focus on food. This is where things could start hurting us quite a bit. So, gonna get a new circle design over here. Gonna be a little different though. Alright. Storehouse is gonna go right about here. The V formation there. Alright. And we're going to have our first buildings here. We're going to have a fisherman hut here once I get the wood. And we're going to have a hunting camp right now, right here. Look how close that is. That's going to be so beautiful. This area right here is going to be a food industrial area. We'll retain these areas over here for production of Meat probably here, eggs over here. It's going to be glorious. We also want to make sure that we have a good road connecting this area over here. Make this a little bit faster for our ox. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So we're going to have a little bit of an issue here, but that's okay. It is now March 26th. We have one house that desperately needs to get that log. Come on, baby. March 27th. Build that house up. There we go. We have enough room for 6 families. Perfect. Beautiful day. We got a few things on the floor that we need to get up. Might not get them up just because when you're building a grand city, you have to lose certain things to get into your build faster. I mean, you could just build a small city out here, but what's the fun in that? So there's our second, or we have 2 assigned families and 4 free now because we just got our 6th family member. So now we need to just continue to get as much logs as possible. So I'm going to boot that up. We have people that are going to start moving over here to get the granary up. That's going to take a bit because of the distance. That's all right. And we are running out of food, and that's okay too. Let's get this hunting camp up. The hunting camp and any food-producing building that you have will pull from the pantry to feed people via the Amazon drone, so you don't have to worry too much about that stuff. But we're going to start moving everybody over here immediately. All right, fishing hut up. Let's get our food enterprises up, though. And we also need to get up another house. We're going to take kind of a hit here. But if you can get that 6th family member, it's a lot easier to survive a lot of these things. So it's pretty sweet. The industrial area, I think, actually should come over here next to this stone. So I think the first storehouse is going to be more located over here. You don't need to worry too much about your market stalls, simply because of the way the game works in reality. It's kind of silly that it works that way. I think I'm actually going to keep this line here. This is actually kind of cool. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but we can always delete it later. And let's get up our market area. It's going to be in the bottom half of this. 57 market stalls. That's more than we'll ever need, ever. Okay. So let's let them get to work. Like I said, it's going to take a bit to get some of this up. Firewood is 5 months. We've got 1 month of food. Granary's not really the big deal here. Let's get 1 person in the hunting camp. Alright, I'm going to pull the logging camp down to 1 individual. Right now we have 10 lumber. Primarily what we need is people building. And we're going to try our best to start getting out some of the bigger houses. So what I would love to do right now is get all of the veggie plots up. So these are going to be the veggies. I found when going into 4 corpse pits, they get really stringy and they don't utilize the terrain very well. For historical plots, the 3 corpse pits is pretty ideal. You lose a little bit of efficiency, but it's pretty awesome. And you can see here, we got a glorious thing going on. These are going to be beautiful plots right there. So, boom. That's going to hold all the people we need, and it's going to allow us to go into the next step, which is, getting a bunch of veggies going. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. We got spots for granaries over here. We're going to be glorious. We're going to have an insane food production. We're going to start bringing in meat now, and that's going to help us out substantially. We want to get our approval ratings up higher than what they are. We're not going to get that 7th family simply just because of the distance, but that's okay. We'll get it soon. And there is a hungry family, but you know what? Whatever. They'll get some food. They'll be fine. Everyone will be fine. Get the granary up, please. But yeah, they'll eat from the pantry of the hunting camp, but that might not be enough. We'll get the fisherman hut up. That's going to feed the majority of people. I think we're going to pull in just enough food that people do not starve to death. And that is a glorious place to be. Unfortunately, we did not get that house up in time. I probably should have just built another house over here, to be honest. But it's okay. We kind of don't want to pull too fast or too hard because our food production's not adequate enough to feed additional people anyway. So it's all good. All right, we're waiting on 2 stone. Pump that up. Waiting on 1 log. Yeah, it's a bit of a distance for them to walk. That is the issue. But oh boy, once this city starts growing, it's going to be awesome. Oh yeah, this is going to be a sweet setup. Pretty chill over here already. Getting those back burgage plots up. Alright, granary is up. Let's put 1 individual in there to get the first market stall up. That will help keep our approval ratings up. Even though they're eating out of the pantry, they're not getting the benefit of food types until you have it in a market stall. The bonus comes from the availability, not consumption. Remember that availability is a completely different mechanic from consumption. I have guides on that if you want further information on my channel. Just look up my food mechanic guides. It's pretty detailed, so we'll kind of gloss over it, but you can just take my word for it in this video. Alright, we're beautiful. We're beautiful people today. Got 10 stone over here. Okay, that's enough for the church. Alright. Fisherman's hut's up. We're still at 50%. We're going to pop one dude in the fisher. I'm going to pull this gent out of the hunting camp. Alright, we got the granary. We got the fisher. We got, I think, 2 families in the logging camp, because we're going to want more logs than what we have. And we're going to let them prioritize. Yeah, none of these guys have lumber. And the timer on the ox, when you order your first or your second ox, right? We got ours. It can be a little weird. So sometimes it takes a while for that ox to come. It looks like right now we're chilling with just the 1 ox. And we're going to need a lot of ox for a build this big. But you can see the animals are not in their nice little homes over here. We've sectioned this off not to scare them out of the circle. Oh no, they stole my meats! That's okay. Get more meats later. Alright, the fisher is doing his job. There's typically 11 spots for fishing, so you can only have a maximum of 11 families, but you gotta do a little bit of synergy. So the skills that we're going to use in this are going to be orchardry, for sure. So that's 1. We're definitely going to use advanced pond keeping. That's 2. We're definitely going to use beekeeping. Alright, so that would be 3. Now, if I want to do deep mining to sell stone, I would need to do 2, and coal would be really advantageous. But realistically speaking, we got 1, 2, 3. I do want to do trapping and advanced skinning because it's going to double my butcher production of meat when I start doing some butchery. And I think we're going to dabble in sheep breeding too. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 right there. We're not going to be able to do heavy plow. But yes, we will get into sheep breeding because sheep breeding is an amazing way to produce meat. My goal here is to produce just a stupid amount of food to kind of show you how systems can work. You don't even need to do this. It's completely insane, but it's awesome. So we're going to do it. Alright, yeah, this actually is a great area. You can see down here we have all the freaking firewood we could ever need. I'm going to keep potentially lumber over in this area since it has all the trees. We can have multiple, like we can have a storehouse that is literally just for firewood. There's nothing wrong with that. And honestly, a really good idea to do. So we're going to have a storehouse right here. We're going to have it connect at the crossroad right there. And then we're going to place our first woodcutter's lodge. The saw pit will eventually be moved closer to a logging camp area. So that's okay. And we need a saw pit. So we're going to get up our first industry right there. Alright. We got 1 house over here. Perfect. We're going to leave that open until the beginning of August. There we go. We're at 50%, so we're going to get another family. Beautiful. Now we can expand the living facility here. And we have another burgage plot that's about to get up. This is wonderful news for us. Once we get the storehouse up, we'll get our spearmen. And we need to go take a bandit camp and get some money. There's a bandit camp over here. We need to start doing that immediately so that we can continue to expand these areas. Also, another thing that we can do once this is expanded, this area is expanded, is start getting our first veggie plots up. Start get those vegetables coming in. It's going to be a bit of an issue until we get more granaries, but we just need to expand our workforce as fast as possible. Okay. So we are going to get a vegetable garden up here. And we got another 15, so that's grand. We'll get another veggie plot up as soon as possible. They are definitely a little slow. We might lose that family, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to make... like, once you hit your stride, you're going to have more families than you know what to do with. It's going to be very scary. because you can't feed them all. Alright, prioritize that. Alright, we just need to let them all kind of catch up. But they're doing a great job. The village is starting to come together. Layout's definitely looking very sharp right now. You can see with the 3 burgage... You can see with the 3 corpse pits here on the burgage plot that you get an okay thing. Now, if you slant this a bit, you get less dead loss. But I'm going to be honest, you're going to be producing more food than you even know what to do with. So it becomes kind of silly at a certain point trying to be crazy efficient. It's definitely really cool. But it's not really necessary. The game kind of compensates for a lot of this stuff. So you can make cities that look a little bit cooler and more ideal for what you're trying to do. It's not going to break the game for you. I will say, here, I am slightly afraid of losing backyard plots. Okay. So what we need to do is just make sure that we know that this is the minimum right here. So if I build anything, it needs to be below this point. Otherwise, we risk not having backyard extensions on this point. Very good. All right, we got our first point. I typically put that in the apples since orchards take forever. You could also put it into fish if you wanted to just focus on that, but we're going to do apples. All right, we have 3 people who are building. We definitely need to get the storehouse up and just get some things going. If we can get our troops, we can at least steal the bandit camps if the other lord comes out to attack. All right, we got that message. Need to form that militia. There we go. We got ourselves gang of spearmen. 16 out of 36. Let's wait till we hit 20. So that we don't lose too many people. On the other hand, though, we could technically take it. But let's just wait for a couple more families to come in. We have space for them. Alright, there we are. Let's get that next vegetable garden up. Beautiful. Alright, we're going to hold off on expanding until the next family moves in. We're going to put 1 individual in the storehouse. We need to start collecting fuel as soon as possible next to maintain our high approval rating of 50%. I guess that's high. We're going to start overfishing here in a second. So, we got 120 fish. We can slap 1 dude into the hunting camp now. Got 2 free individuals, and we have 2 people logging. I think this is actually really good. Nice. Got that new family. And these veggie gardens are going to start helping us out next year. So this is going to be pretty big. Alright, so they moved in. So let's expand that living facility. Right now we're just kind of getting hurt by the lack of... we just need more ox, eventually. So let's get 2 hitching posts here. Get ready. Got 18. I think that's good enough. I'm alright losing 1, to be honest. We just really want to get that money. We'll get 2 food types now, between everything going on there. Now the trick to killing the bandits is to let them come to you. Try to take them in an open clearing. Don't have them run to position. You want as much stamina as possible. And form them 2 by 2, like that. And put them in stand your ground. The stand your ground will help you absorb the charge damage. Once they charge and hit you, then you go out of stand your ground to push forward. This will finish them off. Alright. They're having a good old time. Alright, so they're coming out to us now. So we're going to wait, recharge our stamina to increase our effectiveness. You can see most of our effectiveness negative is due to fatigue. So we'll be alright. We got 10 impaling, got 8 shield, we got 5 armor, got 1 attack. A very low attack when you're in this formation, but it will dramatically reduce the damage done by charges. Alright, here they come, strutting through the forest. Bunch of jerks, man. Bunch of jerks. They're not even taking me serious. They definitely look pretty serious. That's why spearmen are so awesome in the very beginning of the game. Spears have been around for thousands and thousands of years for this reason. Alright, so here they come. They're going to charge. Alright, charge has been initiated. Double click with the right mouse button. So now you can see we're doing a lot more damage. Still says 1 attack. So we'll see if that's true. Alright. So this is always a little fun to watch, and also a little boring. But basically, you take the spear, and you poke it at the enemy. Repeatedly. It's a beautiful mating dance. There we go. We dropped one. Dropped two. Oh, yeah, they're dropping like flies now. There we go. Now we've killed them. And we lost one of our own. If we would have waited for 20, we would have lost nobody. But you know what? Sometimes you gotta lose a spearman to buy an ox. Just the way of the game. Now we could put the money into the treasury so that we can hire mercenaries. But to be honest, I just really want that money. I'm gonna send these gents back. Now another thing that we need to take into consideration is that we are desperately gonna need to start making bow units here pretty darn soon. So what I would like to do is go down into the industrial area here and place 2 more houses. Now these two houses are going to be artisan houses, and they're going to make bows, or they're going to make boots, or whatever I need, right? We'll get these up fast. The problem that will occur is if you don't build your artisan houses at the very beginning, you have to wait for more families to come in. If you build like 13 houses, you have to wait for all of those houses to become people to move in before you can get your artisans, and you get really screwed. So it's important once you get, you know, your first areas up like this, you immediately get up at least like 2 to 3 artisan buildings. At least 1, so you can build the bow units. So we'll build our guys down here. Also, it grants living spaces near some of the buildings that will be around this area. Pretty cool. Alright, Fisher Hut's up. Woodcutter Lodge is now up. We do not want anybody freezing to death, so let's actually put 2 people in here real quick. Hopefully they will go out and get some wood very fast. We're playing it a little different than I usually do on the... Yeah. But you know what? The funny thing is if anyone does freeze to death, someone will take their place. I don't know if that's funny, but like someone will move in. They'll be like, I'm cool with that, you know? They don't have a problem. They do not have a problem with it. Alright, we're good to go now. Band unit. Get all these gents back to work. Felling a tree, felling a tree. He's cold. Yeah, well, everybody's cold sometimes, sir. Good thing is the storehouse will start carting those resources to the market. We'll create his market stall over here. Now remember what I said. If I didn't say it properly, food and items are consumed from the storehouse and the granaries first. So they will, the one thing they do actually travel for is firewood. So that's kind of a problem in a design like this, because everyone's traveling all the way down here for firewood, right? So in this design, we may want to think about that in the future. I may actually move firewood production to a corner area like over here, or even keep it slightly over here to move it up. That way there's a little bit more going on. But I honestly think we're in a pretty good place. Like, you can put a storehouse even at the center of the design, like right here, and just only have it be filled with firewood and just have them kind of cycle. So it's not really a bad idea to have another storehouse up here. We're going to do that. So that's why I'm doing that. I just want to kind of explain why I'm doing certain things. It's one of the only things outside of water. So water and firewood are the 2 things that people actually travel to pick up. It's pretty annoying. Water is going to be definitely a little different, right? Oh, look at that. We got a nice little spot right here. So we'll get the water up. And these things aren't going to cost you too much in efficiency. We'll get another water up over there. What do we got? We got any water over here? Oh, we got water right there. Okay. Well, that could cost us a field in this area over here. So we'll get a well right up over there. Perfect. All right. A few wells. Pretty darn cool. Let's get a well down over here. Wells are good to have. Very cheap. And over here in our lumber camp, we'll have a well over there, so they don't have to travel for that too. These individuals will have to travel, but they send one person to get the firewood for the entire burgage plot. So they usually send the kid or the female. It's not really that big of a deal getting these resources whatsoever. All right, let's get these burgage plots up. So we got plenty of living space now. We're at 50%. We're going to start really growing our population. We do have an enormous sum of money. So we're going to extend vegetable gardens out there. And we're also going to start ordering multiple ox to really start speeding things up for us. We're also going to need far more hitching posts than what we have. So let's keep that going. We do have a big chunk of change now, which is beautiful. To help us get those apple orchards. So now that those houses are going, it's time to expand and get the rest of this up. So this is going to be 3 apple orchards. Now the apple orchard is going to be longer. They don't interact the same way as veggies. It's like every 3rd apple tree is harvested, which is really weird. And so here we go. So these can always be a little bit bigger, and you don't have too difficult of efficiency issues. Also, remember, we're going to probably trade apples, so it'll be a beautiful day. Now, the church is going to require planks, so we're going to want to start getting some planks up once that saw pit's going. And we're also going to want to get a boyer workshop up pretty much ASAP. Eventually, we're going to move into crossbow units, because they're the best. Got ourselves another bandit camp. That's pretty sweet. Not too worried at all, to be honest. We're not going to extend the living spaces on these gents. We're going to keep it to 1 family. Track movement. We have 365 days to prepare. We're going to be ready. Alright, saw pit is now up. So what we're going to do here is go to our advanced tab and turn on a timber reserve of 12 and a plank production limit of 50. We're gonna get that guy going. Now, when you are kind of screwed like I am, and you have a big swath of area, and you only have limited livestock, and you're trying to get something going, I actually do assign one of the ox, to the saw pit, because otherwise you just won't ever get any production. So what we want to do is get that church up. We need Jesus real bad here. These people are hurting. And we're going to place our church right around these parts. I was thinking a tavern and the church here. And behind the tavern is going to be the brewer. We do have a storehouse here, so not only can we do firewood, but we can actually do some... This will be good, so we can do some of the alcohol production here too. So actually what I'm thinking we're going to do is get the brewer up right here. Sometimes you have to end the snap to road tool. Get what you want. Go. So here's a double burgage plot. This is going to be the brewer. Now I'm going to cut a line across so I can get some good stuff in here. This is beautiful. Storehouse, burgage plot, brewer, church. The church is going to go, I think actually, right here in the back. Now they do travel to the church. We'll likely have multiple churches. And the tavern, I think, is going to go probably right here. So the brewer has an easier time getting close to it. That'll be great. And I'm pretty sure we'll be able to fit the church up right over here. It's going to be glorious. There we are. So we're pulling in way more food than we need, way more fish. Let's just make sure that we're set 120. We want to set it to 2/3. Technically, but one person is... You need multiple families to fish beyond the capacity. It's going to grow 50% for 3 months between March, April, and May, I believe. So we're in good shape there. That's when you want to, farm it. There we go. All right, how many do we have? 4? Okay, cool. We need to get those apples going. They take about 3 years to reach maturity now. Okay. Burgage plot there. He is claiming more territory. Now we did assign an ox over here. Don't frustrate me. I think what we're gonna do to speed things up isn't something I normally would do, but we have this whole area over here for wood. We're gonna move wood production temporarily right here. I am going to create a new network of roads. There we go. That will speed this up substantially. This is going to be where the majority of our lumber is done. It's also good to have multiple lumber areas. And let's make sure we are indeed ordering ox. Let's place an ox area right here. Maybe a few, right? Now the trade post should go straight across the road from the storehouse. This is not going to be the main storehouse. Main storehouse will probably move up just a tad bit to make it easier for the lower gents to get firewood from there, and then the higher gents to get firewood from up here. That would be fantastic. So in the advanced tab, we're going to just say nothing should be stored here except for firewood. That would be a beautiful day. Okay, so we have a positive rating of 55%. Everything is coming to fruition. All right, apples there. Yeah, let's get some apples over here. This is fan-freaking-tastic. Now, we're going to get up the chicken coops first once we start expanding. And we're going to get the tannery up next, right here. Perfect. Look how close that is to the storehouse. I guess, technically speaking, I should just preemptively move the woodcutter up here and get it going. So we do have a pretty good wood cutting area, I would say right over here, right? And that's not too crazy of a distance for that gent to travel. I do think we'll eventually run out, though. That is a problem. Maybe I should keep it right where it is for the time being. Just out of abundance of a caution. We can always expand and create different areas. That's the cool thing about this game. All right, we got the well up. Just need to get a leather up and a church. But yeah, we're just taking this slow. Not rushing anything. Just not really worried about the bandits. They're not very difficult to destroy. Okay. And also, we're going to go and get some money so that we can fight them. Like the Lord took out all the bandit camps because I was sleeping on the job. Alright, well, that's fine. Alright, let's order another ox. Gotta get these ox going. There we go. We got that stuff going now. Okay. So here, we're going to assign it to this large area. We're going to be deforesting the majority of this, so we might as well get something good out of it. We're going to pull the individuals from over here out for the time being. We're going to get this going. It's going to be glorious. And we'll have a little bit better operation going on over here. Alright, we got the church. So let me do this proper. Let's first get the tavern up. And then the church, I think, is going to go snap the road off. I like to do my churches a little different. We definitely have room for things. I want the church to be kind of centered. I like to use the only cosmetic we have in the game. Give it a little bit of authority there. Some shrines in front. There we go. There we are. That will be the church area up there. Very good. Alright, the families are moving in pretty fast now. Definitely need to continue to get these fields up. Get these apples going. And living spaces. There we go. Got the apples going. These are going to be very good producers. Alright, the storehouse is full, so we definitely need to upgrade this. But we can't. Because we don't have enough boards. Enough planks. We definitely do. We'll have to wait for the planks to rebuild up. Alright, we're going to get the tannery going now. It's going to be beautiful. May need to get one more individual into the storehouse. Eventually, I'll probably bring some of that up here. There we go. We're going to upgrade the storehouse. Prioritize that to the highest priority. Okay. Got 210 turns. Once the church is up, once the food supply hits a proper amount, we can start upgrading. Put 2 people into the granary. We have 10 burgage plots now, 13 constructed. Definitely going to need more. One more ox. Alright, we got ourselves a new bandit camp. We are going to make our way there. Like the Lord's actually going to make a move. So we need to run. Too fatigued to run. Perfect. We'll let them assemble real quick. Alright, we're definitely going to steal this, and then we'll use the coins to hire a mercenary army if we cannot get an army of ourselves in time. This is the smartest way to deal with the early stages. If we hit the enemy first, too, we also get the influence from the kill. Gotta be really careful with this. We're probably going to trigger them right here. Alright, there are bandits. Sometimes you have to check to see if the bandits are there. Sometimes the camps are empty. You can actually just walk up and take it. Yeah, we triggered them. Okay. Their archers are going to help us. Oh, this isn't good at all. They said, oh, you got it. They're like, you got it, man. You don't need our help. Well, oh, there we no. All right, well, we screwed up because they moved. It's okay. I'm just going to go straight for the money. All right, put it in the treasury. That's enough money to hire a very basic mercenary company. Run everyone back to work. Alright, storehouse is up. Food stall. Common stall with leather. Firewood. We're doing great. Alright. Small tavern. Church is almost up. Another thing that we're going to need to do is start getting more stone so we can upgrade our granary. Let's get the stone cutter up. Right next to the stone. Perfect. Order another ox. Disband the units. We're good to go, man. This is great. We have 4 available living spaces. Got a lot of produce going. So let's start with the next batch. I'm going to do the apples first, I think. Yeah, there we go. There we go. This is going to be an insane amount of food. A very, very insane amount of food. There we go. Perfection. You can see, when you're zoomed in, it doesn't look like much. But once you realize the true scope of everything that's going on, it becomes quite obvious that this is going to be an insane amount of food. Okay. 1 person into the stone cutter. Let's see what else we need. Alright, we're doing great. We're doing really, really well now. And it looks like we can upgrade all of these to level 2. We're going to do that now. We can start making bows here in a second. Don't think we're going to even need to do that, though. We're definitely going to be selling bows in our build. We got our wood church up. It's beautiful. Take a peek around. We also want to get all the clay. So, yeah. The clay mine here. The iron mine here. That's beautiful. We'll definitely be taking advantage of those resources. Alright, and then our next goal would be to get fields up. I'm kind of scared to destroy all these beautiful things we have here. Let's get the roads correct. Now, a farmhouse, as you can see, is exactly the gap between the 3s and the 4s. So I'm thinking we do this smart, right? We put our farmhouses right here in the gap. This is beautiful, actually. This is really beautiful. We're going to have another granary over here. Along with, you know, a windmill and all that jazz. So let me see what we can fit here. We need to fit a windmill. 38% efficiency is not going to cut it. And that could be from a lot of different reasons. 0% efficiency. It's because of all the trees. So, this area is pretty bad and good for barley, so I think it's all going to wash out. So what I would like to do, get a perfect 1 Morgan plot. Now, we're not going to be using mules, so ox. So technically we can make these as big as we want. I would still err on the side of caution, though, and not go over 1 or so. 1.3 is probably fine. But we want them to go field to field. They're going to need to work smart. Now, these might be too big, but that's okay. 1.4. Yeah, I think the windmill is going to do grand here. Now, the center of all this is right here. It says 0% efficiency right now. So what I think we're going to do is just have this be kind of a cool, special little area. Have a circle road around all of this. Straight road. Perfect. Okay. Okay, we're getting close. This is the last one right here. There's still a lot of space on the side. All great. But this is way more than we're going to need. You can see that behind all these producers, so we're going to have another granary here and some bread makers down the sides. This whole area is just going to be focused on bread, barley. Now we have a storehouse over here, a small tavern, burgage plots, small tavern. We have another space for another granary that can help with the logistics for alcohol. Eventually I'll have to find a spot within the design for honey, but we're not quite there yet. But at least we have the basis of our farming region right now. So this is looking like a pretty freaking strong build. Keep this going. Oh yeah, look at that. We got these guys over here. Like I said, we want to get those apples going as soon as possible because they take forever. We're thinking years in the future right now. Okay. So we got some tier 2s. We'll want to get our manor up here pretty soon. 86 turns until our first bandito attack. And this is a great place to just show off everything that has been done. Made a massive amount of progress in the first episode. Thank you guys for watching. Special shout out to all my YouTube members and patrons for supporting the channel. And stay tuned for the next episode, which should be coming out relatively soon.